If you pay attention, Instagram is actually telling you how to grow your account. All you need to do is learn how to use Instagram Insights to your advantage. And I'm gonna teach you how to do just that in this video. Hey, I'm Katie, and here on YouTube, I love to share my best advice about social media marketing and creative entrepreneurship. I'm gonna dive into my own insights and show you my actual stats and how I interpret them and what I take away from them to know what images to post, what captions to write, and when to post them. Now, before I start, I will say you're gonna need to have a business account or a creator account on Instagram in order to see your insights. Yes, I think it is worthwhile doing this. Everybody seems to think that if you have a business account, it is going to decrease your engagement, but according to the official Instagram creators account, they have said that having a business or creator or any type of Instagram profile has no impact on what your engagement is, and I personally think that it's very worthwhile to be able to look at your insights and see what posts are performing the best. So get that business account, and then let's go on to the next step. So first things first, I'll show you where to find your insights. You might have already noticed on any given individual post, you can tap on the text View Insights, and that will show you your likes, comments, saves, and shares on that post. However, to really get the information you need to develop a good strategy, you need to see insights on a larger scale than just on a single post. So to do that, you can navigate over to your profile, tap on those three lines in the top right-hand corner, and from there, tap on Insights. Here you will find this magical, powerful tool where you can learn so much about how your audience has been interacting or not interacting with your content on Instagram. There are three different sections to Insights. We have content, activity, and audience. I like to start with content because I find it the most helpful when it comes to informing my strategy. By default, it's going to give you a week overview telling you about how the content that you have posted this week has performed compared to past weeks. But when it comes to formulating an overall strategy, I like to look at it on a larger scale than this. This is a good way to check in every once in a while and just see how things are going. But when it comes to doing a big overhaul, looking at how your audience is enjoying your content, then I would say you want to know a little bit more than just this past week. So to do that, you're gonna wanna scroll down and tap See All. By default, this is gonna open up and show you your last year of content, and it's also gonna default to showing you stats about reach, which, just as a brief aside, I think it's important to take these hints when we see them. So reach is the first thing that it shows. That might be telling us something about what the Instagram algorithm values, right? So they want us to care about our reach. So probably increasing our reach will be a good way to help our content perform better in the algorithm. Just a thought. So when I take a look at my content, I like to look at the last 3 months rather than the last year, just because I kind of plan for my business in quarters. I find that a lot changes over a year, so I'm kind of focusing on one consistent strategy over a 3-month period. So that's what I like to look at. And of course, I'm gonna keep it on reach to start just to see which of my posts have gone the furthest in the past 3 months. And I try to start looking at those posts and see what kind of trends I can pick out from the top 6 or so. Just in case you're unfamiliar with what reach means, reach is the number of impressions, the number of eyeballs that have been on those posts. So for instance, my top one here, 6,441 people at some point saw that post, whether they were scrolling past it, saw it in my feed, or whatever it is. So like I was saying, you want to look at this and see what is doing best. Like, what are some of the trends that we can pick out just from like the top 9 pictures that you see here. Once you have a sense of what is doing well in terms of reach, then you want to start diving into some of the more specific categories. So if you tap on the reach button, you can choose to look at what gets the most likes or comments or the highest number of profile visits or website clicks. It really depends on what your goal is. So for instance, if you are really trying to drive people to sign up for a freebie that you have a link for in your bio, then you might want to see which posts are most effective at doing that. By doing this, you might find that by writing a detailed call to action rather than just link in bio, you might get, 30% more website clicks. So it's these kinds of things that you want to start analyzing for based on what you are aiming to do with your Instagram. In my case, the stats that I'm going to look for the most are saves and shares and engagement. I like to choose engagement because it is a compilation statistic of both likes and comments together. So that kind of gives you a holistic view of how people are interacting with your content. So when you're doing this, you want to ask yourself some questions. Go ahead, choose the 3-month time period and switch it over to engagement. And now take a look at your top 3 to 6 posts. What is similar about them? What's different about them? Tap on them, read the caption, see what hashtags you used. Try to figure out what about those posts has done really well for you. And once you know that, then you can replicate it. And that is really the key to using insights to your advantage. I would aim to take notes on these elements. So for instance, engagement. Try to write down 3 different things that are similar about your top 3 to 6 engagement posts and see what you're doing really well there. And that is something that you can add to your strategy long term. So let's take a look at some of my posts so you can get a sense of what I'm taking away and how that's informing my strategy. So if I look at my top 3 posts in terms of engagement statistics, you'll notice that it's kind of a mix of things. I've got some graphics there. I've got some photos of me. Something that I've noticed across a lot of these different stats, whether it's engagement or reach, is photos of my entire body or the majority of it in front of an interesting or dynamic background seem to perform the best. So for instance, a picture of me on a mountain, you can see this whole vista in the background. That seems to be eye-catching. That got people to stop and engage. A picture of me, kneeling on my bed with my laptop. Again, whole body, you can kind of see the background. A picture of me sitting on a couch in like this cute living space. I find that these do a lot better than, say, a close-up photo of my face. Like if I scroll through my top posts in terms of engagement, none of them are like a selfie or a really close-up portrait. And I have posted those. So I know that those are not going to be the kind of posts that perform the best. So in my own mental checklist, I say, okay, a full body image of me in front of some kind of dynamic background. That's what I need to aim for when it comes to creating images. Now, of course, photos of me are the only thing I post. I also have these graphics that seem to be performing really well. So I take a look at these and say, like, what about this did really well? So this one about what you need to start a YouTube channel versus what you think you need, that seemed to perform really well. So I can start thinking about, what about this post did well? Well, it sends a very specific message. It tells you that anybody can start a YouTube channel. All you need is an iPhone. It's super shareable. You can share it to your Instagram story and tell your friends that they can start a YouTube channel on their own as well. So it has a very specific message behind it and it's very shareable. So now when I'm making future graphics, I can think about that. I know that having like pictures of gear or little like graphics accompanied by writing, that seems to do really well. So maybe I can make another graphic that is similar to that and it would likely perform just as well. Another thing that I think it's really important to dive into is not just what the images look like, but of course also the captions that accompany them. So take a look at your like top 3 posts, for instance. I'll tap on this one that got the highest engagement out of any post in the last 3 months. Let's take a look at what my caption was about. So I started it off by saying, if you want to know how much money I made in 2019, tap see more. Oh, and double tap the pic while you're at it. This is like a perfect headline to a caption because 1, it is very enticing. People love hearing about money from other people. It's a very sort of taboo but also hot topic, so people are going to click. And I also reminded them to like the photo before they went and found out this juicy information. So I think that that really helped with engagement as well. Interestingly enough, if I look at some of my other top posts in terms of engagement and reach over the past 3 months, a lot of them are talking about money in some way. So that's something that I think I'm going to start mentioning more in my captions because I do think it's a hot topic. People are interested in it and I am actually quite passionate about it myself. I'm very interested in personal finance, budgeting, how to be responsible with your money, how to run a good business, how to do finances in terms of being an entrepreneur. And I feel like there's not a lot of people talking about that are at my like income range. Most of the people that talk about money are like millionaires or whatever. So I am passionate about discussing that more. And so I think I'm going to bring that to my Instagram content a little more often. And I've been affirmed in talking more about that by seeing that people respond to it well in terms of the insight. So that's really cool. So these are the kinds of things that I'm going to think about when it comes to writing my captions going forward, because now I know people love money, they love confidence, they love entrepreneurship. Those are good topics that people are going to connect to in my captions, and that's going to lead to higher engagement for me. So all of this can really inform what you're gonna post. You can figure out what captions are doing well and what images are doing well. So now let's figure out what time you should post these at. If you go back over to the main page of Insights and tap on Activity, this is gonna give you some insight into when people are engaging with your posts. So there's some interesting information here. You can see which days of the week tend to get the most action on your account. You'll probably notice that the days where there's like a really tall bar compared to the rest, it's probably a day when you posted. That's pretty typical. If you post new content that day, that's when people are gonna engage with you more. So we know already that those stats are gonna be a little bit skewed because you posted that day. That's gonna have a big impact on your followers' behavior. So if you want to find out, like if you weren't doing anything, what time would your followers be on Instagram? Find a day where you didn't post. So for me, that would be Tuesday. And then go over to the audience tab and scroll down to the very bottom and select Tuesday under the hours section. So you can see on my stats, 9 to noon and noon to 3 and 3 p.m. on. Those are kind of the slots where people are most active. They're all pretty close together, but by a slight margin, noon is a little bit more active. And that is exactly why I've chosen to publish my posts at noon. Makes a lot of sense because that's when people are online. Under the audience tab, you can find out a lot of other interesting information about your audience, but I'm guessing a lot of it won't be that surprising to you. Stuff like age, gender, location. These are the things that we kind of just know about our audience because we interact with them on a daily basis, but maybe you'll learn something new. So check that out and just see if it confirms what you already thought. And maybe that'll have an impact on the kind of content that you make. So now that you've got your content calendar and your content strategy all ready, you need to follow up with a really solid engagement strategy. Seriously, engaging is probably just as or more important than all of this content stuff put together because it's so important that you spend time building relationships with your community. If you want to know exactly how to do that, then you should check out this video about how you can increase your engagement in just 10 minutes a day. Seriously, go watch this. I think it will change your Instagram mindset completely. As always, thank you for watching, and I can't wait to go see you over in that video. Bye!